Hello, I'm Professor Reed, bringing you a review on Chapter 6, Factoring Polynomials, Section 1, Greatest Common Factor. In Section 1, it talks about finding the GCF, or greatest common factor. G stands for greatest, meaning the largest number. The C stands for common, which means what they have alike. And the F stands for factors, meaning the numbers that multiply together to get you that number. So the first example we're going to look at is factoring, finding the GCF of 28 and 40. There's a couple of ways you can find the GCF of numbers. You can watch another previous video to see how to find the GCF. But today we're going to use the factor tree method. On the factor tree method, all you're doing is finding the two numbers that multiply together to get you those two numbers. So 28, two numbers multiply give you 28. In this case will be 2 times 14. 2 is prime, 14 is not. So then you have to say what two numbers multiply to give you 14. In this case, it'll be 2 and 7. 2 is prime, 7 is prime. So again, when you're trying to get the greatest common factor, you're trying to get all the prime numbers or the prime factorization of that number. So the prime numbers of 28 will be 2 times 2 times 7. So then you do the same for 40. What two numbers multiply to give you 40? You can use 4 times 10. You can use 2 times 20. You can use 5 times 8. It doesn't matter which numbers you use, as long as you use two numbers and make sure you get their prime. So for 40, let's just do 5 and 8. 5 is already prime, 8 is not. 8 will be broken down to what? 2 times 4. 2 is prime, 4 is not. So 4 will be then broken down to 2 times 2. So then the prime factorization for 40 will be 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. Okay? So then you say, okay, what do they have in common? In this case, they both have a 2, 2, 2, 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. So the GCF is 4 between 28 and 40. Now, what do you do when you have variables when they ask you to find the GCF or the greatest common factor with variables? The rule says anytime you have variables, the GCF between variables is the common or the smallest exponent. So just looking at this, knowing the rule, if it is the smallest exponent, I will assume that x to the third will be my GCF. Let's prove it. X to the third is saying x times x times x. X to the seventh is saying x times x times x times x times x times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? X to the fifth is saying x, and x. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you say, hey, what do they have in common? When you look at them, you see that I have 1x, x, 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 or x, or x, or x. So the GCF is x to the third. That is proving the rule that it says, when it says the GCF in variables is the smallest exponent. This is Professor Reed, keeping math simple. Have a great rest of the day.